Welcome to the Power of Offense with Keith and Rodney. And today we got a hot one for y'all. Yes, we do. We're going to discuss this craziness that was stated by this brother named Elie Mystal. I believe I'm pronouncing his name properly, but he was on The View, and he was stating some very how can I put it? Some very interesting things about the Constitution, right? And Rodney and I, we want to give our opinion about what he's saying. All right, so here we go, y'all. Fair use, fair use.
Let's talk about your new book. It's called Allow Me to Retort, A Black Guy's Guide to the Constitution. Tell us about the book and why you wanted to write it.
Yeah, so what I'm trying to do with this book is explain in layman's terms what Republicans are doing to the law.
Now, again, I got to say this because now he's making this thing something political, right? Now he's supposed to be talking about the law, talking about the Constitution, but he want to make it seem like the Republicans are trying to abuse the law, but the Democrats aren't. He's trying to turn it to something political. Now, I take offense to it because him being a black man, right, and the way he titled his book, A Black Man's Guide to the United States Constitution, right? I'm paraphrasing, but he titled it something like that. I take offense because I'm like, your opinion of the Constitution is not necessarily mine. He should have titled the book after his name and just say that's his opinion or his interpretation. You know what I'm saying, Rodney?
Absolutely.
But I take offense to that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But let's keep going.
Because I honestly believe that if everybody understood it, they'd be as outraged as I am about it, and they'd be willing to do something about it. Look, folks, the law is complicated. I'm not going to lie about that. But it's not beyond the reach of most literate people, all right? It's not sending a rocket to Mars and making it land just so it doesn't, right? You can read, you can understand the laws that govern this country, and you can understand how Republicans are obviously trying to manipulate those laws to take away the rights of minorities, women, the LGBTQ community. You can see it all, and I try.
Now, I'm going to stop right there because, again, this guy is saying that Republicans are trying to take away the rights of minorities, right? And he's saying women and the whole gay community, right? Now, for the record, right, the historical fact is that the Republicans were the ones that actually enacted laws, right, of anti-discrimination and equality for minorities. And even they were the ones that was behind the passing of the 19th Amendment. That's why I'm like, what he's saying is incorrect even from a historical standpoint. But again, he's trying to make this all political. It's obvious that this man is a Democrat. It's obvious that he is. Instead of just talking about the Constitution, he want to inject politics into it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, it was something else he said, Rodney. Shit. The man said something else, man. Hold on, let me go back a little bit. Something else he said, man. I kind of wanted to say something.
You can understand the laws that govern this country, and you can understand how Republicans are all
right, right there. Now, I do agree with him that the average person, right, that can read, as long as Rodney, as long as you can read with an eighth grade at an eighth grade reading level, you can understand the Constitution, right, or the laws of this country. Now, Rodney and I, we believe in a holistic view where we like to start with the federal Constitution and work our way down to like the acts of Congress, to the statutes and codes, etc. You know what I mean? Because it gives a much vast understanding of what the laws mean. Because the Constitution or the federal Constitution is supreme law of the land. So it's always best to start there first and work your way down. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, totally. Because other laws, there's too many of them to remember. So I suggest, just like Keith just said, that you understand your federal Constitution one, and then your state Constitution closely second. Because those, believe it or not, once you read them, you'll realize how many of your rights you were leaving on the table by following the code, statutes, and the other stuff that's subject to the constitutions.
Absolutely. But let's keep going.
Obviously trying to manipulate those laws to take away the rights of minorities, women, the LGBTQ community. You can see it all, and I try to explain it all in ways that people can understand so that we can fight them.
I have to tell you, I loved this book so very much. The first chapter, canceling trash people is not a constitutional crisis.
Now, I got to stop right there too, Rodney, because this man say canceling trash people is not a constitutional crisis, and it is. Now, how can you sit there and say that canceling someone is not a constitutional crisis, right? When everyone has the right to freedom of speech as well as freedom of expression. Now, to deny that right, right? To deny that right means that all other rights can be denied. And then I got to ask, who are you, right? Who is he or anyone else to determine what trash people are? Because if we use his same logic, right, we could turn around and say that trash people deserve to be enslaved, right? Now they deserve to be enslaved, right? Regardless if they dully convicted of a crime, they are people who we deem to be enslaved. And those trash people could be anybody. It could be black people, it could be white people, it could be anybody. You know, I think it's crazy that a Harvard law professional or Harvard law attorney, right, would say some bullshit like this. You know, I really do. You know what I mean? He's spreading confusion, in my opinion. And I got to say that what he is saying is extremely idiotic.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree because, and you have to understand that he's confused. He's intelligently confused because he was trained by the system of racism and white supremacy and those who support it. So therefore, they train lawyers and scholars like he is not to really overstand, or just to overstand it to benefit them, not to benefit the people in real time. So I disagree with what he's saying. He's trying to politicize something that's they're not even talking politics in the Constitution, basically. Especially when you're going over your rights. That's the only thing people should be paying attention to are your rights, or unless you're running for office.
Absolutely. But if you hear from him, he don't think that he's confused. He don't think that he's misguided by racism and white supremacy. Matter of fact, you could tell that he think that he's pro-black. You know, with the fro going on, and right there on his book, right? You know, he got the little fist comb stuck in his do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of people like that. They just confused. I mean, they don't unless they. I mean, it's hard to describe. It's like we have a different view because we've been to court under circumstances trying to free ourselves from the very thing that he's defending.
Absolutely.
I'm just gonna leave it right there.
Absolutely.
Chapter 9, The Taking of Black Land, was another favorite of mine, and reverse racism is not a thing. I just think it's fantastic.
So I live in Florida, so I'm like on ground zero of where all of this is happening. I'm out of my mind about the bills banning conversations about race and ethnicity and LGBTQ, just even mentioning gender identity in primary schools. But some will say, okay, so are you arguing for throwing out the Constitution? Should the Constitution be thrown out? What do we do? Is it a living document? Or is it a sacred document?
It's certainly not sacred. All right, let's start there.
Now, I totally disagree with him right there, man. The Constitution is a sacred document. And the reason why I'm saying that is because it guarantees due process. Matter of fact, it's the only Constitution in the world that guarantees due process. Meaning, the government cannot just come take your property because they just want to take it. No, they can't do that. They have to sue you over it, and they have to prove beyond reasonable doubt that they're right in order to come take your life, liberty, or your property.
And your pursuit of happiness. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna show you just how sharp he's not. Because when this sister right here said that they trying to stop you from talking about race and what did it say? What'd she say? So stop you from talking about race,
Sex and gender.
Yeah, and gender. So right there, if he was such a constitutional lawyer, he would have said they can't do that because that violates the First Amendment. But the fact that he didn't say it let me know that he doesn't know, that he's confused. I'm not even gonna go into him because he's a brother. But he's confused to the system.
Absolutely.
So right there, I think somebody did just pass a law speaking about that you can't say this and can't say that, and no one is talking about the First Amendment. You have to say what the hell you want to say. You know what I'm
It
saying?
was Ron DeSantis. governor.
That you can't talk about race. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about. I mean, they tripping. They don't understand standing. But go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, what's funny about you saying that? I know several of the gay groups, they plan to actually sue and do a constitutional challenge against that law that was just passed in Florida. I've read something like that.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's an easy shoot down joint right there.
Yeah.
But it depends on what argument. You can have a clear case, but if you bring up the wrong argument or present the right argument incorrectly, you're gonna lose.
You're gonna lose, right? Right.
It's not a whole lot with that.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true. Because if you don't raise it, you waive
it. And if you raise it incorrectly, you still waive it. So
you still waive it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they hit you with the was it 12B6?
Yeah. Failure to state a claim upon which relief can be granted.
Yeah, because that's a two-part statement. You know what I mean? Failure to state a claim upon which relief can be granted. Your claim can be right, but the relief you seeking is wrong, and vice versa.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
There you go. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Yeah.
Constitution is kind of trash. Now let's just talk as adults for a second.
What did you say? It's what?
It's kind of trash.
Trash.
It was written by slavers and colonists and white people who were willing to make deals with slavers and colonists.
I mean, it's funny how you say let's talk like adults, but the Constitution is kind of trash. That sounds like some kiddie shit to me.
And you see how the white lady looked at him like, nigga, you crazy.
Exactly.
You know, if you see how she looked at it, and she know the Constitution because she kind of references, so she's looking at him like he's crazy. But go ahead.
He is, man, because again, I'm like the Constitution, right? We can talk about just the Bill of Rights, man. The Bill of Rights lists everything you can think of as far as civil rights, right? That belongs to the people, from the right to freedom of religion, speech, expression of the press, assembly. You even have the right to petition for redress of grievance against the government. You got the right to bear arms. Now, of course, there's limitations on all rights, but the fact that you have these, I'm like, man, what he's saying is crazy, because these are guarantees. These are guarantees, and the government can't take these guarantees from you without due process of law. That's my point. You know what I'm saying, right?
And then another thing that he don't know what he's talking about, he said that the Constitution was written by white slavers, but the Constitution, it was they got their Constitution, and I have the law that says it.
Yeah.
The law was that where they got that same Constitution from the Iroquois Confederation, which are people like that look
the
like
5 civilized tribes. Yep.
Yeah. They outside the 5 civilized tribes. It's the Iroquois, and that's the one that the law said that's where they got the Constitution from. So
I think
even though it was written by people that look like us, it was rewritten by. He doesn't really understand the history of the Constitution and where they got everything from. He gives them too much credit as if they thought of all this shit.
You're right. I think it's called the Law of the Great Peace. I believe that's what it's called.
I don't know exactly what they called it, or whether it's Confederation. I'm not familiar with that, but I got the law right downstairs, certified from the Library of Congress, of where they got the Constitution from. But go ahead.
Yep, that's facts. That's facts. So I'm like, when I hear this man say that the Constitution is kind of trash, it disturbs me, because I'm like, you telling me that the government can't just do unreasonable search and seizures? You telling me that's trash? You're right not to incriminate yourself, as some people say. We like to say your right to preserve your innocence. You telling me that's kind of trash? Like the stuff this man say, I mean, it's idiotic to me. You know what I'm saying? Double jeopardy. You just go down the book, man. The Bill of Rights is even so great. I mean, even if it's rights that's not enumerated in the Bill of Rights, you can still raise it under the 9th Amendment. You know what I'm saying?
That's the main thing right there. People leaving their rights on the table. So, nothing is perfect, because nothing is perfect in this realm. But if you overstand the Constitution and just have a sense of being, you won't violate anyone else's space or damage their property. I mean, you right in line. You're in harmony with nature. But it's whenever you have the urge to go outside of that natural instinct of minding your business, don't harm anyone, don't damage property. Once you go outside of that, then you are asking for something that we don't want, as you can see. You know what I'm saying? People that act outside of that civil-minded consciousness, they pay the price for that joint. The stealing, the harming of people, and the damaging of property. Those are two short words, but a lot is to be unpacked underneath those two topics. Harming people, you can injure people a lot of ways, and you can damage property a lot of ways. So,
absolutely,
people live by those two little things right there. Just put the shoe on the other foot before they act. We wouldn't need them 6 million laws that more than half of them are unconstitutional. But go ahead.
Absolutely.
Didn't ask anybody look like me what they thought about the Constitution. Didn't say, "Oh, Jim, come over here. What do you think about this old Constitution?" Well, Massa, I sure don't like how you sell my children. But I gotta say, man, this King George, he needs to be stopped.
Yeah.
My grandpapa used to say, "Ain't no taxation without representation for Massa." Like, that's not what happened.
Okay.
Man, you hear this Negro cooning, man? That's what I call cooning right there, man.
Big cooning,
what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's all unnecessary right there, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just make your point. But this is the same man say we adults here, man. So won't you just talk and act like a damn adult?
Yeah. Why is you doing the kid?
Yeah, why are you doing that? You know? Unbelievable, man.
This document was written without the consent of Black and brown people in this country and without the consent of women in this country. And I say if that is the starting point.
Now, we already discussed the fact that he's wrong with that, because the Constitution, and you are right, Rodney, the Congress did acknowledge that our Constitution did come from the Iroquois Confederacy, man. They did.
Yeah.
So, and the Iroquois Confederacy had Black and brown people in it.
Yeah.
You know,
they had non-whites in it. It was non-whites who wrote that.
Exactly.
The very least we can do is ignore what those slavers and colonists and misogynists thought and interpret the Constitution in a way that makes sense for our modern world. That's
Do you want
the
to rewrite
starting
it?
line.
Do you want to rewrite it?
I could, right? I could rewrite parts of it in a tweet, right? Like, how about popular election for the president?
Man, this fool say he can write it in a tweet. Popular election for the president. So he wants to do away with, like most Democrats, they want to do away with the electoral college, right? So they want to make sure that the only votes that count in America is the state of New York, California, and Texas.
Exactly.
Interesting. You know what I'm saying? Is that fair? You know what I'm saying? It's nothing fair about that.
Yeah. He's trying to violate the Constitution by not giving all the states their equal right of
representation. Yeah.
Yeah. So
this is what Harvard has to present. This is what Harvard is giving us.
All day long. Didn't Obama come from Harvard?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did. I rest my case.
Man, yeah.
People vote, not land.
That's not even in there, is it?
I'm saying
Yeah,
if I was rewriting it, we could do it in a tweet, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Term limits for Supreme Court justices. And how about no states' rights when it comes to health care, elections, policing, and guns?
Right.
It's just better.
So he wants the federal government to be totalitarian.
Yeah,
that's what it sounds like to me.
No rights for the states. He's tripping.
Yeah,
he just said no states' rights. Really?
Yep. Unbelievable, man.
That's just better. And
He's just confused. That's all.
Amendments help.
Now, say that again, Rod.
He's confused.
Absolutely.
Some of that?
Well, here's the problem with the amendment process.
Really fast now. I got 20 seconds.
The problem with the amendment process is that in American history, there have been 115 people allowed to interpret what the amendments mean. 108 of them have been white.
Okay.
That's a problem.
Well, you are certainly a compelling guest.
Man, this Negro caught up on color, man. Obviously, like most Democrats, he just caught up on color, man. It don't mean that the laws, that this Constitution is not good, man. And even the amendments, at least most of the amendments that was put in place, not all, were actually necessary. You know what I'm saying?
He's just confused. That's probably the best way you can chalk that up. Anything else, you're starting an argument. You know what I'm saying? Because he can't really he can only debate that to people who really don't understand, who rely on him for their legal understanding or interpretation. So
I agree.
there's case law against what he's saying.
I agree. Matter of fact, I would like to throw this out there, man. Throw this charge out there. If any of you all that are listening to us, if you know this guy or are able to get in contact with him, any of that, man, we would love to bring him on the show to do an interview. You know what I'm saying? We would love to discuss this. You know,
Yeah.
I'm actually thinking about buying his book. I'm actually thinking about this shit, Rodney. Buying his book and inviting him on, man. If no one else does it, you know what I'm saying? To see if we can discuss this stuff, man.
Yeah.
Because I know we're smashing, man.
He's not gonna do that because that'll mess the promotion of his book up.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I'm saying? He's trying to promote his book with the stuff that he's saying. He's not gonna want to entertain anything that'll slow those book sales down.
Yeah, anything to the contrary.
Because if he come on with us, we gonna blast out. People stop buying his book.
Absolutely.
That's why he's going to the people where he know he can push that foolishness.
Yeah, The View. You know,
Yeah.
I know most of their listeners. I guarantee most of their listeners don't read.
No, they don't. Yeah, no, they don't. Listen, no way.
Yeah, man. But anywho, all of you all, please let us know what y'all think in the comment section. Please share, like, and subscribe. And Rodney and I catch you on the next one. Peace.
Peace.